Okay, so I decided to do 14, 24, and 32 on this homework assignment, which models pretty much all of the problems well. So for problems like this where we have sine, cosine, tangent of two angles by addition or subtraction, in this case we have sine difference. If you look, it's alpha minus beta, so that matches up with the third one here. So I want to use the right hand side, which is sine of alpha, and alpha in this case is 60, so I have sine 60. And then I have cosine of beta, right? Sine alpha, then cosine beta. Beta in this case is 45, so I have cosine 45. And then sine difference has a minus in there. Sine alpha, cosine beta, minus, that's where I'm at right now, minus. And then I have cosine alpha. Alpha again is 60, so I have cosine 60. And then lastly I have sine 45. After we do this, we do our unit circle calculation. Sine 60 is the y value to 60-degree rotation, which is root 3 over 2. Cosine 45 is root 2 over 2, x value to 45, minus cosine 60 is x value to 60, which is 1/2, and then sine 45 is root 2 over 2. Note, it is not sine root 3 over 2, cosine root 2 over 2, and so on. That's the most common mistake within these problems. It is just root 2 over 2, root 2 over 2, and so on. So now I multiply together and simplify as far as I can. Root 3 times root 2 is root 6. 2 times 2 is 4. Minus 1 times root 2 is root 2. And then 2 times 2 is 4. And now we see we have like denominators, so we can combine them with keeping the denominator the same. We have root 6 minus root 2. Those are not combinable, as radicals are just like variables. X minus y is just x minus y. Same with root 6 minus root 2. Next we have tan difference. So if we look at our tan difference formula, it's down here. So I have tan. So in the numerator, I have tan of alpha, our first angle, which is 5 pi over 3, minus tangent pi over 4. And the bottom we have 1 plus tan 5 pi over 3 times tangent pi over 4. Now that we plugged in, we go ahead and do our unit circle calculations. Tangent 5 pi over 3. Note, a pi over 3 has 1/2 comma root 3 over 2 is our coordinate. Tangent is y over x, so that would be the y numerator divided by the x numerator, which would be root 3. 5 pi over 3 is in the fourth quadrant, so that's a negative. And then we have tan pi over 4, which is 1, or the y over x at a pi over 4, so that's minus 1. In the denominator now we have 1 minus tan pi over 3. I'll just write it right here, is negative root 3, and then tan pi over 4 is 1, so 1 times negative root 3 is negative root 3. And so I'm sorry, that was supposed to be a plus. So it's a plus, and then it's negative root 3, so now that plus turns to a minus. So we have a minus root 3 here. So this doesn't look too promising in terms of the multiplication, but we'll just take it one step at a time. So we got to multiply to rationalize this, get the radical out of the denominator. We got to multiply by the conjugate of the denominator, which is 1 plus root 3. Once again, the conjugate of 1 minus root 3 is the same terms but opposite sign. So 1 minus root 3 conjugate is 1 plus root 3. Got to multiply the top and bottom by the same thing, by the same binomial, because anything over itself equals 1. And now this is where we're going to have to be careful. In the numerator, I'll go numerator first. Negative root 3 times 1 is negative root 3. Negative root 3 times positive root 3 is negative, and then root 3 times root 3 is root 9, which equals 3, so I have negative 3. Next we have negative 1 times positive 1 is negative 1. And then next we have negative 1 times root 3 is negative root 3. In the denominator, I have 1 times 1, which is 1. And then negative root 3 times negative root 3 is negative root 9 or minus 3. Note I didn't multiply the middle terms because when we multiply by the conjugate, the middle terms cancel out. We can check it. 1 times root 3 is root 3. Negative root 3 times 1 is negative root 3. So I'd have root 3 minus root 3, which cancels. Okay, so now we got to deal with this down here. If we simplify, I'm just going to go underneath here. I suppose I could move this up. There we go. So in the bottom, I have 1 minus 3 is negative 2. In the top, my like terms, I'll go ahead and highlight these. My like terms would be negative root 3 and negative root 3, and that would give us negative 2 root 3. Really doesn't matter where you put it. Typically, you put the root 3 second because we're going to have a whole number as well. For this, for the constants, I have negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4. And now I'm going to simplify. So negative 4 over negative 4 divided by negative 2 would be positive 2. Go ahead and do that in black now. Positive 2. And then negative 2 divided by negative 2 is positive 1. And with a root 3. So my final answer ends up being kind of nice and neat is 2 plus root 3. All right, on this one, this is one of those problems where you're going from the right-hand side of the formula, the sum difference formula, and going to the left-hand side. So we want to recognize which one of these 6 this expression is. So if I have a tan of an angle plus tan of another angle, and then I have 1 minus tan of that first times tan of the second, that's going to be one of these. And our plus minus is what indicates whether this is going to be plus minus or minus plus. In this case, it's a plus minus, so I have plus minus, so it's this one. So what that's telling us is this is the tan sum formula. We have the right-hand side, and we're moving to the left-hand side. So alpha is our first angle, which should be in those 2 spots, and that's what we have right here. So that means alpha is, you don't have to write this, I'm just doing this for instructional purposes. Alpha is equal to pi over 5. And then we look, beta, it goes there, is at that angle, and that's what we have here, 4 pi over 5, 4 pi over 5. So beta is equal to 4 pi over 5. In fact, those could be reversed around, but it doesn't matter which way we have them. So that means that we are doing the left-hand side. We're going from the right-hand side to the left-hand side. Alpha is pi over 5, and beta is 4 pi over 5. So I literally just plug those in. Tangent of pi over 5 plus 4 pi over 5. And we look at that and go, okay, is there anything we can do with that? Well, 4 pi over 5 plus 1 pi over 5 is 5 pi over 5. One of them plus 4 of them gives us 5 of them. And then 5 over 5 reduces, so I have tan pi. Well, what's the ratio of that? Well, pi rotation, your coordinate's negative 1 over 0. So if we take y divided by x, that'd be 0 over negative 1. So our final answer is 0.